Thank you to GameStop for sponsoring this video. GameStop now carries laptops, PC components, accessories, and more. See the link in the description for more details.
Samsung is doing something pretty crazy with its next gaming monitor, which shouldn't come as a surprise considering this is the same company that released the super ultra-wide Odyssey G9 a while back. The Odyssey Ark is a 55-inch mini LED gaming monitor that can go fully vertical, and after seeing it at CES, I finally had a chance to sit down and play with it for a bit. And I have a lot of thoughts. Before getting to those though, make sure to get subscribed to Digital Trends and leave a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed it. Let's get a few key specs out of the way first. Ark is a 55-inch monitor with a 1000 R curve, which is pretty aggressive. It's unsurprisingly 4K, and it comes with a 165 Hz refresh rate. That's all well and good, but the real kicker is that you can turn the monitor fully vertical for a much different experience, which is all brought together by a wireless Arc dial that ships with the monitor. And that's really the best place to start because the dial is what makes this whole crazy concept work in the first place. So you can control the basic options of the monitor with either the dial or the included remote, things like volume, screen settings, you know the drill. But a dedicated Arc button sets the dial apart from the remote. Tapping it once will allow you to adjust the size of your main window from the full 55 inches all the way down to 27 inches, which by the way, it looks downright puny by comparison. You can also slide this window around, and Samsung includes a few animated backdrops that will fill in the dead space. If you don't want them, you can just turn them off as well. It looks a little goofy with one screen, but thankfully you can bring in several with Samsung Multi-View. The Arc comes with 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, so you can configure multiple sources and see them all on the screen at once. It also includes the normal Samsung TV operating system, so you have access to all your media apps like Netflix and YouTube, as well as the newer gaming hub with cloud streaming services like Game Pass and GeForce Now. The kind of pie-in-the-sky setup for this is to have something like a game in one window, YouTube in another, and maybe a web browser in a third. Samsung says that Arc solves a problem a lot like the Odyssey G9 did. You can blow up a game or a movie to the full 55 inches for complete immersion, but the real idea is to replace several monitors with a single display. And it kind of works. When using Samsung's apps, the experience is great. You can easily resize windows with the dial, and the monitor will automatically adjust your sources to a vertical orientation when you flip the display. The issues come up when you're using a single source. If everything is coming from a computer, for example, you just can't take advantage of the dial or any of the layouts that you would normally be able to save in the display. You have to manually flip it in Windows and try and work around snap layouts to organize everything how you want. It's kind of a mess. And if you're using Samsung's apps, you need peripherals with both Bluetooth and a low latency connection to hook up to the PC and the display at the same time. Otherwise, you're controlling apps with the remote or the dial, which is a pretty terrible experience in the case of the web browser, for example. But let's move on to the literal elephant in the room, the massive size and the fact that you can rotate this monitor vertically. If you were hoping for motors that would handle all the rotation for you, you're out of luck. You have to rotate the monitor manually, but it's not too big of an issue. Samsung includes some helpful stops and clicks in the massive stand, so you know exactly where to place the monitor when you're rotating it. It's easy, but not super practical. This is a 55-inch monitor after all, so turning it vertically or back horizontally is a big process of trial and error as you make slight adjustments to the height and tilt to get it looking just how you want. I personally like the vertical view more because you can essentially stack 3 27-inch monitors on top of each other. And in the horizontal view, you can also change the aspect ratio of sources, so you could have like an ultra wide on bottom and 2 16:9 screens on top. Once again though, you'll need to set all that up through Windows unless you're using Samsung's apps or multiple sources. My main concern, unsurprisingly, is the size. If you're sitting this monitor on a desk, you'll need to be a good distance away to see everything, about 2.5 feet even concerning the curve. It's not unmanageable, but get ready to free up a lot of desk space, especially considering it's better to adjust the monitor from the back than it is the front. For the monitor itself, it looks and sounds incredible. Sound is actually a really big part here, which is not usually the case with gaming monitors. You have 6 speakers in total, 1 at each corner, and dual subwoofers in the middle, and they combine for a total 60 watts of power. They also support directional audio and Dolby Atmos, so you can get complete immersion. There's absolutely no contest here. This is the best sound system on any monitor you can buy right now, on the level of Samsung's high-end TVs. It's super loud, extremely directional, and clean as can be. The curve helps a lot too, as the speakers angle in to hit your ears perfectly while you're sitting in the sweet spot of the display. As far as the panel goes, you're getting something very similar to the Odyssey G9, including full array local dimming and a peak brightness of 2000 nits. We don't have any sort of display HDR certification yet, but I have to imagine it'll be up there with the G9. As far as dimming zones go, Samsung gave me nothing, which really isn't that surprising. It's super bright, but the black levels are equally as impressive. I'm really looking forward to strapping a brightness meter onto this thing because the dynamic range is pretty large based on what I could see. Ark has a ton of interesting features, sure, but at the end of the day, this is a super high-end gaming monitor that can go toe-to-toe with the most expensive options on the market today. The only slight issue I have with the screen is the matte finish, but there's kind of nothing Samsung can do here. A matte finish was 100% the right call, but it just looks a little weird when it's blown up on a 55-inch screen as opposed to like a smaller 27-inch monitor. The colors kind of wash out when you're at lower brightness, but you can combat it by turning up the backlight. This monitor really looks its best when you're pushing a little bit more light through it. Overall, Ark is great despite a few issues with actually using it. None of that really should turn you away from buying it. The only thing that might is the price. Samsung is asking $3,500 for the Ark, which is more than twice as much as the Odyssey G9, $1,000 more than Samsung's OLED displays, and even the same price as some of Samsung's 8K TVs. This is Samsung's most expensive gaming monitor by far, outpacing the previous highest by like $1,200. So yes, the Ark is a great monitor, but it's an expensive proof of concept right now. There are some practical usability hurdles, and the price is kind of insane. The biggest argument I could see for it at this point is that it's your only screen. If you want to work, game, watch movies, and do basically anything else you could do on a screen, the Ark can accommodate you. You just might need to finance it. If you want to pick one up, you can actually reserve the Ark now through Samsung's website, which you can find a link to in the description below. Otherwise, Samsung says the Ark will go on sale in early September. While you're down there, make sure to leave me a comment, get subscribed to Digital Trends, and leave me a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed it. If you want more Digital Trends content, here are 2 videos that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy.